Well, good morning and welcome to the Trade Setup right here on Bloomberg Quint Live. It's a day full of news, some good ones, some bad ones. First, on the global front, there are developments, viewers, that all of us should be aware of. So the U.S. House has passed a bill which in effect would punish China over oppression of the Uyghur Muslims in that region. And Canada has joined the US and UK in the diplomatic boycott of Beijing Games. Now, there is a lot that is being made of this diplomatic boycott that US did, and then UK, and now Canada has also joined that. So, that is interesting development on the geopolitical front. Not to forget the fact that the China-Taiwan issue and the Russia-Ukraine issue remains alive and kicking. Brent oil is above $75 per barrel, and Apple closes in on the $3 trillion market value. That is higher than, I think, the GDP of Germany and UK as well. And viewers, why I thought this is interesting, and this chart will tell you a story or two. It was only in 2018, mid 2018, that Apple crossed $1 trillion. Now, if you thought, with this whole conversation about how small becomes large and large may find it difficult, on that base, Apple, in a period of 3.5 years, has given you what, 3x returns, right? From a trillion to a 3 trillion, nearly 3 trillion. I think it needs to rise about 6% more to reach that $3 trillion mark, which is quite astounding. It obviously become the first company to do that. What an organization Steve Jobs built, and how his legacy has been taken forward by the others. It's quite astounding, really, what Apple is managing to do. There might be various news points about how Apple products are losing its sheen, etc., etc. Somehow that ecosystem stays. I'm a part of that ecosystem, and I really can't get out of it and don't want to get out of it. So it's something that they're doing right, really. And it's quite astounding, really. Anyways, be that as it may, focus on the markets. US markets did reasonably okay. I mean, flattish performance, really. And that people are talking about, how it had a third day of gain, etc. But the gains were very, very limited. The Nasdaq may have had a little bit. The Dow was actually very, very flattish. However, the point is, remember 2 days ago when we showed you the chart of how the dips are being bought into? Look at this chart now. The gap that was there on the S&P 500, which was there, there was a bit of a drop down as a result of the Omicron fears. It's been filled very, very quickly. I mean, that gap has been closed completely. The S&P 500 is back to the pre-Omicron level in a matter of 8 days. So fifth time in 2021, a mini correction has been bought into. Are Asia and SGX Nifty taking heart from that? Well, the futures in the US also are very flat. So I reckon that we'll have a flattish start. I'll be very surprised if there is a large tick of green on the Asian bourses. I mean, or at least for the Indian markets. There is a bit of green for Hang Seng CSI. The others are ho-hum, marginally flattish. And after the 1.7, 1.8% move yesterday on the Nifty, let's see what the SGX Nifty is indicating in the session today. Though one would safely assume that even yesterday's indication was a bit of a nothing. But we have about a 0.5% uptick in store in the session today. So comfortably above the key resistance levels yesterday, and slightly above what people have said is the profit booking level for today as well. So good start for the Indian markets. Let's see if we build on from there. Somehow it seems very difficult to presume that this will continue. The trade setup for today is precisely that. I think the risk reward, remember yesterday and the day before I said that the risk reward is in favor for people going long, leverage side. It's kind of now becoming balanced, if you will. So we are back to following global cues. Maybe expect a flattish start to marginally higher today. Somehow, I don't think that the strength in rally is convincing for a longer move. VIX cooled off yesterday, and that's actually a really positive sign. But is it giving confidence that there will be a sustained up move and we will continue to move for another 500,000 points? Somehow, I don't know. I don't think the strength in rally is that strong. The Bank Nifty, though, the good part is that the Bank Nifty is looking okay because it bounced back from the 200-day moving average. And let's see if the Bank Nifty manages to move its rally or continue its rally from the levels that it is right now to what it could be going ahead. Can it lead the rally? is the question. Remember 2 days ago when I spoke to Nirav Sheth of MK, he seemed to believe that banks could actually lead the uptick going ahead. What about stocks to watch in the session today? There are a few. So M&M and Reliance, interestingly, I never thought that they could be into an alliance, but Reliance BP Mobility, which of course operates under GOBP name, and the Mahindra Group have announced a non-binding MOU for exploring creation of EV products and services alongside identifying synergies in low carbon and conventional fuels. Almost everybody's trying to shift to the other side. One more. Don't know if it is stock moving, but remember yesterday also I didn't think that the news was stock moving, and the stock did move about 2.5. So you would argue that even the market had done that. So I doubt that this is stock moving in the truest of senses. Maybe M&M could move a bit, but let's wait and watch. Gland Pharma. Now, the reason I bring this up today is yes, they have received a tentative approval from the US FDA for Cangrelor injection, and they may be eligible for 180 days of generic drug exclusivity. So this is positive news. Gland is a much larger firm than some of the smaller firms which recently have gotten US FDA approvals for their respective drugs. But almost every single company which have gotten these approvals has had a really sharp, swift rally. And excuse me, I don't remember the names right now, but we brought it out. I mean, out here on Trade Setup as well, that these companies have gotten a US FDA approval. Didn't quite know what kind of a rally it will bring, but those stocks have had some fairly strong rallies. Let's wait and watch if Gland follows suit and has a rally for itself as well. I think time will tell. I'm just trying to dig out if I can. Unichem Labs was one, right? Unichem Labs had gotten a US FDA approval. Biocon had gotten an approval, but Unichem Labs had received approval for aripiprazole tablets, and that stock had moved as well. So keep in mind, Gland Pharma, it could have a move. Neogen Chemicals, they've approved an issuance of equity shares on a preferential basis to some very smart investors, including White Oak Capital, Plutus Wealth. Plutus Wealth has become really big of late. Axis Mutual Fund, the largest equity house. Axis may not be the largest fund house, that may still be belonging to either ICICI or HDFC or SBI. But in terms of equity assets under management, Axis is the largest. So Neogen has done a preferential issue to each of these. They would have taken the allotment because they would have seen something in the promise of the business. Do watch out for Neogen in the session today. NXT Digital, we spoke about this yesterday about how Ashok Leyland's arm is looking to introduce some variants. Now, promoter Hinduja Group bought about 52.76 lakh shares on December 4th. Ashok Permanent Hinduja bought about 2.78 lakh shares on December 4th. Maybe some of you might have known this earlier. We got to know about it yesterday, so I'm bringing it today. Watch out for NXT Digital. It's a listed stock, by the way. And Dixon Technologies. Again, this may not necessarily materially move Dixon as much. It's a very large firm now. But remember the day before yesterday, I spoke about how the number of people who are wanting to meet Balrampur Chini and what it means about how global investors are looking at the sugar space in India. Similarly, the ODM space in India, and it's got one large player really worth its salt, which is Dixon. Some of the others like Optimus, etc., are just so small that you want to wait for them to prove maybe before you take a bet. Otherwise, it's a bit of a punt. Be that as it may, look at the kind of investors who are going out and meeting Dixon. Capital, of course, very well known. Rothschild on December 14. Millentonia Capital. So fairly large global names wanting to understand what is happening in the Indian ODM space. If this didn't give you a proof that China Plus One is alive and kicking, then I don't know what will. So do watch out for these as well. One thing that stood out for me is the quantum of work being done on the grassroots level for at least attempting to do multiple things. So yesterday, somehow this worked for me, and which is why we thought we'll bring it today. I think the government has approved a plan worth $6 billion to link two rivers which flow across Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh to help provide irrigation and drinking water. Such projects are always great. We hear that how water will become a scarce commodity. If indeed this helps in alleviating that problem in the future, then it's all very welcome, and which is why we just thought we will bring it to you. And lastly, viewers, before we wrap up, an extremely sad day for all Indians and all defense personnel yesterday, in that we lost a very high-ranking official and soldier. And from all of us at Bloomberg Quint, a salute to General Bipin Rawat for the amazing service that he's done to our country. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you so much for tuning in today, viewers.